Alright, welcome back. In this episode, I'm not really going to get that much done. It has been really hot here. I don't know what the humidity was, but it was a real feel of 98 degrees today. And I tried working on this thing, and I just got nauseous. I was a little hungover, too. Alright, updates since last week. There we have 2 sheets of Coosa board right there. So that is awesome. They are finally here. What I have been doing is prepping the transom. I used a grinder for a little bit, and then I tried using a reciprocating saw with an adhesive scraper blade, and that actually worked really well at getting a lot of the wood off the transom. The only part that I'm having trouble with is like down here in these corners near that drain plug. The wood is pretty full of resin, and so there's this mass of half resin, half wood down here and down there. And I need to get that out of there somehow. I don't think I'm gonna be able to finish that tonight. The only reason I'm even uploading a video is because my girlfriend had this idea of changing the build up a little bit. And what I was complaining about was trying to get this surface really smooth and void free to accept the Coosa. I would need to cut 2 transoms out of Coosa and bolt that in here with a bunch of resin and compress that. I went over all that in the previous video. But what she was saying was maybe we should consider doing a pour-in transom. And what that would entail would be making a sheet of fiberglass this shape and tabbing it in here, and then pouring a liquid transom material in from the top and casting the whole transom as one piece, which is fine. But then her idea was to reuse these sheets of Coosa, which finally showed up, as the floor of the boat. I only have 2 sheets of Coosa. And the floor of this boat itself is going to use a 4x8 here and then a 4x4 here. 75% of that would be a floor, so I wouldn't have enough Coosa left over to do a stringer. But I have heard that I don't need to do a stringer on this boat. And really the only reason I was considering doing a stringer was to help support the Nitacore, 18 inches from here to here. So even if you had that really stiff, light Nitacore, I think it would still flex a little bit. But this Coosa is really strong. So basically her idea was, should I do a pour-in transom, use the Coosa that I just bought as the floor, and then do no stringer whatsoever? There'd literally be no support here. But this part of the boat isn't really in the water. It's all kind of from here back. I could run a mini stringer just to stiffen this part back, like the pad. The majority of the boat doesn't really need a stringer because it's a tunnel hull, and so it has these vertical sides right here to help stiffen the whole front half of the boat. So I don't know if I need to add a stringer or not. I am uploading this video purely to see what the hive mind thinks. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think I should do. Do you think I should try to go with a pour-in transom, Coosa floor, and delete the stringer completely, or do a mini stringer? Or do you think I should stick to the original build plan and do a Coosa transom, Coosa stringer, and then a Nitacore floor? The other reason that I'm considering this is A, it might be lighter to have no stringer whatsoever, but B, I think it might be faster, and summer is already half over, and this is where I'm at right now. I don't even have the motor here, and I'd like to get this thing wet this year. So the idea of doing less labor and not cutting out the transom and not cutting out the stringer and just using sheets would save me a ton of time. But I don't want to build this thing hack. I want to build it correctly. It's just, I've read a bunch of places that I don't need a stringer on this boat because of the tunnel hulls. So doing a really stiff floor, even though it's slightly heavier than the Nitacore, might be the way to go, and might wind up even lighter than doing a stringer and Nitacore versus Coosa flooring with no stringer whatsoever. So right now is the worst part of the project because most of the work is done and now it's just this piddly stuff, and it's going to be annoying and dirty. So I'm trying to get pumped about it. I'm explaining the concept of hot foot throttles to Sarah, and she doesn't believe me.
No, it just sounds like something you've made up so that you can drive it like a race car.
Nope. When you drive a really, really fast outboard, you have a throttle because on your feet, because both of your hands are white knuckled onto that thing, steering on the tiny bits of water. It's called chine walking because
I'm so excited
when
for
you
this. Let me
when
tell
you run a surface drive prop, only half of the prop is in the water, and that's kind of trying to make the boat go this way. So you're like making micro adjustments on that steering wheel to steer on top of the waves, like you would go down like a mogul run.
But dude, I agree with you, or I believe you that that's a thing. I don't believe you that this boat came with that factory, or we need that.
Yep.
Oh god, I don't know.
Definitely, that's what's happening.
I just got a lot less excited about this, y'all.
It's fun. Floor just because the reason I wanted a stringer was because there was one there from the factory and we were going to run Nitacore, which does have a little flex, but this doesn't have like any.
Right.
So it'd be a heavier floor, but I wouldn't have to do a stringer.
And it would disperse the weight side to side. Is that how?
Yeah, you still glass over the top of it.
Right.
But like front to back, this boat already has like these two longitudinal vertical edges here on both sides of the tunnel that give it stiffness. So I'm not making a decision right now. I'm just saying that's an interesting idea because the floor would be heavier with the Coosa board, but you would have no stringer whatsoever. So
Still lighter than wood floor.
yeah, exactly.
And less precise back here is definitely our style. That's my point too.
Less work is good.
Like yeah, always a consideration.
All right, well I'm gonna keep going, but that's an interesting idea, and that's Sarah's idea. So there's a mosquito. Got it.
You hooked me. That's funny.
All right.